All right, this is my vacuum pump setup for AC systems, or if you need a vacuum, to vacuum a chamber, whatever the case may be. This comes from a wine cooler. I paid $10 for the wine cooler. It didn't have no Freon in it, no refrigerant in it. So it just, I bought it primarily for the pump. And I broke it apart and sold the pieces to the scrap yard. So I basically got it for free. But the reason why I use it, because it deals with liquid refrigerant and dry refrigerant. But you have vacuum side, pump side. I use it to vacuum down a loaded system. And when I vacuum from the high side so that it gets everything out the system and it gets it out in the liquid form and fill my canister. This is my scale here to tell me this is what the scale is empty. This is what the bottle is empty. And it does in grams. I haven't had a problem with it. I purchased this one. This is just my vacuum pump for vacuum. What it's doing right now is I connected into the line to vacuum down all my hoses. Everything gets vacuumed before I do anything. It gets a complete vacuum. It's not turned on. I know what the hoses are. Under normal circumstances, the hoses have their origin or connection for the simple-minded, but I'm a little more complex, so I know what the hoses are. The colors are just for those that don't know. I'm not vacuuming right now. The system, I'm just making sure that my lines are completely dry. And once it's completely dry, then I'll go ahead on and plug up my wine cooler pump to start vacuuming down the system. The reason I have the vacuum hooked up on the high side of the gauges as opposed to the middle is because it gives me control. I'm done vacuuming, so what I can do is close the high side and it cuts off vacuum to the system. All right, so once I cut it off, the vacuum to the system is off. So the vacuum remains in the system until I turn this one on. Hold on. All right, I just plugged it in. Now I'm gonna start vacuuming down the system. See, it's vacuum and pumping. It's vacuum and filling the cylinder. So whatever's in the system is getting pulled down. There's absolutely no air in the line because all the lines are vacuum. I'm running it through a dryer to make sure that it's dry coming through, and watch the gauge. Now, what I noticed with this is it'll pull down to 15 inches of vacuum, and I think it seems to struggle beyond that point. So to me, once I see 15 inches of vacuum over here, that tells me that this line is empty because it didn't vacuum down to this line. This valve here is to close it off. Once I see 15 here, 15 inches of vacuum. All right, this is the continuation from the other day. The compressor that she bought was the wrong kind, so I had to take it off and come back and do it again. Well, this is the follow-up. I vacuumed it down with this. I filled up what I pulled from there into here. So I have it on my scale, cheap scale that measures grams. So I have it set here. I'm vacuuming the system down, but the way I have it set up is I have the vacuum line going into my high side. Because when you recharging the system, you're not recharging from your high side. But the reason I have it on the vacuum on the high side is so once I pull my vacuum, this is not an R134 gauge, but I'm just using it for the PSI. And basically, the way I do it, I'm going off of grams because the system calls for a certain amount of grams, and I have a thermometer in the dash that tells me the degrees. Once it get down to 40 degrees, you don't really need much more because of the simple fact that if you overload the system, you're gonna run into problems. But back to this. So once my system is vacuumed, what I do is I turn off the high side, and that closes off the vacuum to the system. Mind you, while I'm vacuuming, this line is vacuumed. This line, I don't have to purge nothing because everything is vacuumed 30 inches. So close off the vacuum. Turn off my vacuum. Now I have this. I was using that one I was using that one strictly, but I found this online for so cheap I couldn't pass it up. All right, so once I'm done, I just turn on. All right, let's reset it because we're moving around, and all I have to do is open, and the system gonna vacuum it down, pull it into the system like it's supposed to. And so all I do is monitor my grams. And it's gonna tell me how much I have in the system. How much this is what pulled out of the system. The reason that the other compressor was replaced was because the clutch was bad. So I'm gonna replace it with what come out of here. And then if it's still not cold enough, then I'm gonna add some more. But this is all this is about, using a wine cooler compressor. Wine cooler, a college dorm size refrigerator where they say it don't have no freon. Just take the pump off of there and it becomes a vacuum pump, and you can actually use this to pump freon in on the high side. But so monitoring this.